Hey indie game fans! Before release season fully kicks off, there is a bumper crop of games being released this week, with a couple of notable indie games out as well. On the AAA and AA front, there are a couple of notable Switch ports, including the Switcher 3, which I'm still amazed how they managed to get it running, but Grandia HD is something which I've been looking forward to since this was a JRPG that I played in my youth but never completed in its entirety. We also have the next game from Pokemon developer Game Freak in Little Town Hero, which looks just as good, as well as the insanely weird Ring Fit Adventures for Switch, which we'll see how it does. Again, with the sheer number of great indie games, I'll shake things up with some surprise picks not previously mentioned, so here are the top 5 best new releases of the week. The adorable roguelite shooter Cat Lady launches in early access next week and has you teaming up with Granny's cats to fight against the spooky spirits that have taken up residence in her mansion. What I love most about this game is the range of magical cats that you can bring along as companions, where you can unlock new cats and even upgrade them as you explore the mansion. Love the minimalist use of colours as well, which gives it quite the distinct look, and this is coming to us from developer Rose City Games, who also made the overlooked The World Next Door, which I quite like myself. OUTBUDDIES is one of the games which I've been looking forward to since it is a pixel art Metroidvania, which, as you guys know, is possibly my favourite combination. Taking place in the ruins of an underwater city with eldritch horror implications, this place is filled with strange creatures known as the Wozan, who fear the old gods and have been trying to get to the surface for 5,000 years with no success, who may just provide that friendly face that you need. Interestingly, this has an open world right from the start, with freedom to climb, crawl and dive, but don't worry, there are plenty of Metroidvania style upgrades as well. This open world structure is interesting since it allows for sequence breaks where you can tackle bosses in any order, so pretty curious about this.
The apocalypse, inexplicable feminist agenda, the precarious world, overproductive honor glands.
The game, formerly known as No Truce with the Furies, releases as Disco Elysium this week. A very ambitious detective procedural RPG, this cites games like Planescape Torment as inspirations. There's a huge city to explore as you attempt to solve a complex murder case filled with many ups and downs, and everything from the look and the vibes from this really does evoke that old school CRPG feel.
Unlike anything you've seen before. With unforgettable characters.
There is an RPG system with many different skills, from intellect affecting things like logic and visual calculus, to psyche affecting your degree of empathy or power of suggestion, which, naturally, fits into the whole narrative structure for this game.
Or fall hopelessly in love. There are cases to be solved. Mistakes to be made.
While as a detective, you can shoot people if you want to, but manipulating them and pitting them against each other may be a more elegant way to get the information that you want.
Unprecedented freedom of choice.
It promises unprecedented freedom of choice in an RPG, from cracking cases or taking bribes, from playing as a heroic character or an absolute disaster of a human being.
Be a hero, a prophet, a madman, and the greatest detective the world has ever seen.
It's quite the massive experience as well, with something like 40 to 60 hours of playtime on the normal run, so dig in if you love RPGs.
Disco Elysium.
Stranded Sails, Explorers of the Cursed Islands, is an action-adventure game with a degree of freedom to it, as you find yourself shipwrecked on an island and have to find ways and means to survive, from scavenging parts and tools from your ship to setting up camp and starting a small, self-sustaining farm. However, it isn't strictly a farming game like Stardew Valley, but rather has more of an emphasis on adventuring and exploration, since there are different islands filled with both treasure and danger. It's more objective and quest driven from what I have played, so I need to spend more time with this. I chanced upon the confirmation of the release date of Sea Salt on Twitter and immediately knew that it would be on this list. An action strategy game having some similarity to Pikmin or Overlord, this instead has you controlling the nightmarish hordes of Dagon to wreak shop on humanity after they accepted your blessings but refused to pay the price in sacrifices demanded. The pixel art is on point, with lovely, horrific representations of these monsters, and you have to consider things like the mix of creatures in your army, the terrain, and even special units and boss enemies. Looks so good, and another title which I've been looking forward to, taking the #1 spot of the week. For more upcoming indie game new releases, check out the previous video or click on the recommended playlist, and I will see you after the jump.